What's up? So here we go with another one. And this would be 330 here. And oh shit, I'm checking it out. 330 at 375, my bad. I was just counting what's on the bar. So the bar is 45, so that makes us up to 375 for this pull here, okay? So, pretty good. Chop, and then we'll get wrapped up in, okay? Use the wrap so that you don't exhaust our grip strength, and the grip is not a limiting factor. Still is a little bit, but not as much of a limiting factor in the actual pull. And the pull, for some of you, you're thinking about pulling with your arms and your back. We don't pull with the arms and the back, really. We're not rowing the shit. We're just hanging on. It's your legs and your hips and your ass that do a lot of work. The hamstrings are levering this up. Your back is just holding it tight so that you don't just fucking break. Before you waste a lot of energy getting set. Grip down. Alright, and we feel good, okay? So, just kind of had to feel that out a little bit. It's been a while since I pushed it this heavy, and since my back was flared up a little while ago. We had a little bit of reduction in our weight, right? So we're at 375 now, so a little bit of a struggle. We lost a little bit of strength during the recovery process, but being that, you know, I was only at 410, something like that, 425, before my back started flaring up. Getting back on 375 feels real good, real stable, better control. Like I said, rip it into the stomach, chest up, lock the lats down, lats, not your rotator cuff so much. Pull the lats in and back, right? So we get that lat engagement by pulling back on the bar. Rotator cuff flips that in, right? Just by breaking the bar down, just like we do anything else. We break it down and squeeze it in. This gets the lats and the chest activated, and then a rotator cuff by rolling out, and then the lats even further intense by pulling down and also pulling back this way. Right, so shoulder extension this way. And I like the way that felt. It was challenging, but not too hard on my back. So I'm not gonna go up in weight there. I'm just gonna do some reps here. And every deadlift is a single. So even if you're doing sets, unless you're bouncing this shit and then trying to catch a free falling weight, which is just dangerous to your back, back up. Go ahead. Speaking from experience, folks, huh? Good. Still good, still good. I think I just need a little chunk. A little water. Always stay hydrated, man, especially shit days like today. I mean, look, it's 90 degrees. A lot of places are way hotter than this, but 90 degrees is still pretty warm to be working hard. You're sweating a lot. Just drink that water. Drink that water. It's gonna make you stay full. Okay. Remember, a lot of our hunger pains are actually thirst. Okay. Most of the water that we get in our body comes from food. So if you're hungry, drink some water. If you're still hungry, have some food. Prioritize protein. Okay? If you're hungry, go get your, and it's time for your workout. Go work out hungry. Drink lots of water. Intense exercise, bouts of exercise actually reduces hunger. And so do that. Feel good. Smash some food after your workout. After your workout. That's when your body really needs it for recovery. So have a meal. Have your post-workout shakes. Have your meal after that. Right? So smash your shake right after your workout. And then as you're needing to get to or prepare food, then by the time that's ready, then you'll be ready to eat. So it's going to be another hour or two from the time you smash your shake. Go get some food, eat that, make sure it's high in protein. Your shake is already going to have enough carbs to kind of replenish some of that. Creatine to make sure that we're regenerating that muscle energy. I like to split mine and do creatine half a dose before, half a dose after. I actually benefit from a higher dose of creatine. So a standard dose recommended that generally benefits everybody is 5 grams a day. Loading phase is typically 20 grams a day for a week. I like to kind of operate in that 20 gram range. And so if you're not eating red meat, you better think about supplementing creatine monohydrate. Okay? If you need it, you send me a message and I'll get you a link. It's real easy. Free shipping. We'll take care of it. It's one of the safest and most tested products out there. Protein, creatine, water, your vitamins and minerals, and make sure that you have like your calcium, magnesium, essential fatty acids, so vitamin E. Really kind of work on getting some of these things that work against inflammation and help to lubricate the joints and help with efficient hormone production and just like all kinds of benefits to making sure that your nutrition is wonderful. Okay, so go with me and let's get that taken care of. So right there I start feeling my form kind of break down a little bit. Got enough volume in for the day. My legs are shaking a little bit. I don't want to start feeling any kind of nerve twinge in the back. So when I can feel myself starting to break down and round out, that's when it's gotta stop, okay? So we can do a drop set, work with lighter weight to build more volume if we don't feel like we've wrecked it enough yet. But I was already feeling the pull and the stretch in the hamstrings way before we even got to this weight here. So I think for me, on this day in this journey in the rehab, with no disc, I'm gonna remind everybody here, okay? I have a torn meniscus in the left knee. I tore the labrum in the right shoulder. I have an ulnar abutment here, so metal, 7 screws, broken the collarbone, tore the rotator cuffs a bunch of times, tore the Achilles tendon. I had a bulging disc, and now the disc is no longer present at L4-L5, okay? And all the nerve roots south of, or branching out from that space, are pretty much dead and gone, okay? There is no real reason that we cannot still train and strengthen the spine so that when we squeeze in, you get decompression, okay? And when we bend over, we have a high level of resistance to shear force, okay? So shear is when the vertebrae slides this way, and that can be front or back or side to side, doesn't really matter. And compression is when it's pushing down like this, okay? So these are things that we have to start considering when we're training, okay? So if you have back issues where compression is an issue, we need to make sure that we're having ways to decompress the spine. So if you go to a chiropractor for traction, if you do traction yourself, if you do an inversion table, stretching, okay? Learning how to brace your core in and work the transverse abdominis to brace in. That squeezes in on the spine, which makes it elongate. Making sure that we have enough rest and in a good position for your spine to decompress and hydrate those discs that are still in good shape. All of these things are very, very necessary. So when we, with compressive issues, train, we're not really training in a way that wants to compress, okay? So super heavy weight that your core stabilization cannot maintain is going to cause compression on the disc. So being in a low bar squat position where you're pitched a little far back versus more upright like a high bar or a front squat would be, this may be a better way for you to train your legs than doing those other methods. So I've always said squat is something that if I could only pick one exercise to do, squat would probably be it, because there's so many different variations of squat, from single legs to splits to elevated, high bar, low bar, front squat, overhead squat. Right, there's so many different kinds of squat. Thrusters, clean and jerks, I would even consider those to be in the squat family, because you are getting into a squat position. So much diversity. We use it in all of our functional movements. Learning how to use your core muscles and your hips and your glutes to extend your hips, and how to grab the ground with your feet so that we're not pronating and having problems in arches and knee problems, right? So all of these things are really important when we train. And just through moving throughout life, we don't want to have all these problems to where it's causing us inflammation and pain. So when your doctor says, oh my God, you have arthritis, ask them, why do you think that is? And if they say, you're just getting older, fuck that. Come and see me and let's figure it out. Because the reason why we have inflammation in a joint is typically because we do repetitive damage, because we're moving in a range of motion in an alignment of your hard, bony, inert tissue, which doesn't allow for that movement. And this starts to cause what's called a hard stop in joint range of motion. So when I do a soft stop, this is like the tissue here, and it stops. It stops me from being able to go all the way to having the bone hit the bone. Bam. Okay? So all this soft tissue, this is a soft stop. Right? When you just go bam and it's bone on bone and you're hitting it, so a lot of times in the hip right here, if we're doing a squat with our knees in, a lot of people will either round their low back to get that range of motion, or if we keep our back actually extended, we get a pinch right here. And that's because we're pulling in too far, and that means your hip bone, right, your as is right here, is actually really kind of big. So we gotta push out so that we can get this range in, deep hip flexion, and then good extension without having pinching on between the bone and the bone, right? So a lot of times we have these kind of pinches. You're hitting the bone on bone, or that soft tissue is getting pinched right between the bone and the bone, okay? And so that femur cramming up into that as is right there just really delivers a crunch. And you can see right here where my thumb is. If you touch yourself right there, this is where your hip is. And then just right there is that femur, right? So if we're coming in here, that's gonna touch. So I gotta go out here, and then I'm missing that bony protrusion of the hip, okay? So all of these things really matter, really matter. I don't know how people can say it doesn't matter. It matters. Posture matters. Self-control matters. Being able to control your body, how you work the ground, the muscles in your feet, they just don't work by themselves. You gotta actually work them out. Okay? Work them out. Have a good one, folks.